All right, let's take a look at page 2 of our practice assessment. It starts off with a little data analysis, a little experiment involving test grades and peppermints. Student wants to know if using peppermints or sucking on a peppermint during a test will affect your test grade, will increase or decrease. It really doesn't say which one she thinks it is, so it's really open-ended here. You can say it's yes, you can say it's no. It really won't matter any on the assessment that we're going to do. We're going to start off by finding mean, mode, median, and range for both data sets. And before we can do that, we want to make sure we put our data sets in order from smallest to largest. I look for my smallest number, cross it out, write it down. I look for my next smallest number, cross it out, write it down. Look for my next smallest number, cross it out, write it down. Next number, cross it out, write it down. Next number, again, cross it out, write it down. I started off with 5 data points. I want to make sure I have 5 data points when I'm done. I do, so I got a good shot of having done it right. First I'm going to find is the mean. Mean is the average. We're going to add all the values together, so 70 plus 80 plus 85 plus 91 plus 91. That equals 417. Then I'm going to divide it by the number of data points. I had 5 data points here. That'll give me my mean or average, unrounded. That's 83.4%. Mode is the most repeated number, and I only have one repeated number here. That is 91. Remember, a data set can have no mode. It can have more than one mode if you have 2 numbers that are repeated the same amount of times. The median is the middle, so we work our way to the center. This is an odd number data set, so it has a middle value. Remember, if it's an even number data set, you've got to average the 2 middle numbers together. And the range is the largest number minus the smallest number. So 91 minus 70 is 21. That's our first data set. Again, I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to write down my smallest number. Oops, already messed it up. 89 is my smallest number. Write it down, cross it out. Then I go up to 91, write it down and cross it out. 92, write it down and cross it out. 92 again, write it down, cross it out. And 98. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. So I got everything written down. Again, for the mean, I'm going to add them up. 89 plus 91 plus 92 plus 92 plus 98. That equals 462. Divided by the number of data points I have, divided by 5. 92.4. Mode's the most repeated number. There's only one number repeated. That's 92. The median is the middle value. This is an odd number data set, so there is a middle value. And the range is the highest number, the 98, minus the lowest number, 89. So that's our data. Now, in the end, we're going to have to be doing some analysis with this, but we can already see some clear-cut results in terms of what the data says. Next thing we're asked to do, though, is do a little graphing. We're doing the use of peppermint, with and without, versus mean grade. Words, numbers. Anytime we're dealing with words and numbers, we're going to be making a bar graph. The words go on the bottom. So we have a group with peppermints, a group without peppermints, these will be the 2 labels for the bars. This is the label for the axis, so we know what with and without means. Over here, it's going to be the numbers. Y-axis gets the numbers. That's going to be the mean grade. That is a percent. We want to make sure we indicate that that's a percent. We need to scale that axis because it is a numerical value, and it's going to go from, it has to include 83.4 and 92.4. So we need to get our graph scaled out from 0 up to at least 95. Probably even better if we go ahead and take it all the way to 100. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 lines to work with. This tells me I can go by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100. My width group had a mean of 83.4. So 80's here, 85's here. We're somewhere in between, maybe about right here. I'll go ahead and make my bar 3 bars wide or 3 blocks wide. Remember, the width of this bar needs to be the width of the other bar. If I make this one 3 blocks wide, I got to make my without 3 blocks wide. I don't want to imply anything by the width of the bars. My without was 92.4. So 90 is here. 92.4, somewhere in here maybe. Again, I'm going to make it the same width, so 3 blocks wide. It'd be nice if we can shade it different colors, but I don't expect you to bring colored pencils to the test. Title it. And we're done. We got everything we need. We got a label on each axis. We got a unit where we need it. We've got this scaled out with our numbers appropriately, so we're not crunching it in the corner. Each of the bars are labeled. We got a title. That's everything we would need. Again, the bars aren't touching. That's an important thing we talked about in class. We don't want the bars to touch in a bar graph. Again, our bars are equal with everything I look for. Now, last question on this set. Based on the data, how do peppermints, or do they affect the grade, support the conclusion? And I would say, as I look back on this, you could do a couple of different things. You can look at those means, 83.4 versus 92.4. And you might say that there was definitely a decrease with the peppermints. And I would cite those numbers if I were to say that. Say something like the use of peppermint caused the average grade to decrease from 92.4 to 83.4. And you can go on and say that's a decrease of 9% if you want to. Again, more numbers the better. I could see that as a valid way of using the data to explain what you see. And you can also use that range data in there. Students with the peppermints had a range of 21 and without had a range of 9. So you could say that with that wide range, we can identify this big outlier here that may have affected the results, and there may not be any significant correlation between the peppermints with and without. You could say that perhaps grades were more consistent. We had a shorter range. You could say the grades were more consistent without peppermint, producing a range of only 9%, whereas with a peppermint it was 21. And you can even look at the modes here and say there was no effect at all. That there was really no change in grades because the mode was only 1% difference between each of the two groups. Bottom line is this. Use data to support your conclusion. I need those numbers. If you don't give me numbers, then you don't have anything to support yourself, and I won't accept your conclusion.